Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be discussing the Vermont State Electric Bike Laws. Now, they have made better definitions and have clearer requirements now than they did a year ago. When I bought my e-bike a year ago, the definition was you could go up to class 3 e-bike. Those were allowed, and they had to be what they considered 1,000 watt equivalent, meaning that it only would push out so much acceleration up to like 28 miles an hour. But at that point, if you got to 28 miles an hour, you could push the bike past that if you pedaled, but you couldn't have anything electric pushing you past that. So my current bike, my Smart Travel bike, met the definition back then. Now I would say I'm kind of like in a gray area, but that shouldn't be really a problem because the bike's down now and I don't think I'm going to be able to get it fixed. So I was looking into buying a new bike and I wanted to make sure that I understood the laws currently. And that's why we are here today to quickly just go over it so that, if you're thinking of coming to Vermont as a vacation or you live in Vermont and you want to buy a new bike, you got to keep these things in mind if you're going to be on public roads or public areas or even sneaking through a public park. You want to make sure that you meet these. Now, I don't know there's no definition of what kind of fines you will get by not meeting these, but I would recommend that you do your best to try to fall within the definition of what we're going to be reading here. Class 1 e-bike is an e-bike that provides assistance when the rider is pedaling. The bike doesn't go over 20 miles an hour. Kids fall in that definition. People under any child under 16 can't use a class 3 e-bike. They can't in the state of Vermont. They can use a class 2 or 1. And the class 2 is basically the same thing as class 1, but with the class 2 is the throttle. So basically, if you can open a throttle up, that throttle cannot allow that bike to get over 20 miles an hour. So if pedaling or throttling can't go over 20 miles an hour, that's your definition of class 1, class 2 e-bike. Those are legal in Vermont. Those can be ridden by kids under 16. Class 3 e-bike, no kids under 16. You got to be an adult. And this bike can only go with assistance up to 28 miles an hour. Now, the thing with e-bikes, as you know, I have a video on my YouTube channel saying up to 52 miles an hour. There are some hills here in Grand Isle because these things don't have governors. They have brakes, but they don't have something to tell the bike not to exceed the 28 miles an hour. So if you've got gravity and the wind at your back, you can push that e-bike as fast as you think is safe. Now, at one point, I was on a hill here in Grand Isle and I had hit 52 miles an hour. My GPS had said that. Now, I don't know if that's legal or not. I was on a road where it's 50 miles an hour. And again, those GPSs aren't that accurate. So the reality is probably I was doing maybe 45, 47. It just probably hiccuped. You can't really trust GPS all that much. But the reality is you can push past that by using gravity and the things that I just said. But the reality is the bike itself can't have assistance past that electrical assistance. So if you're good at biking, like my current bike is usually good at getting up to 28 miles an hour, easy peasy, but I'm usually pedaling with it. So it pushes it past that mark. And again, who's to really say that I'm actually doing that speed? I mean, it's really just a benchmark. I feel very safe when I'm riding on the road with it. I don't think impeding on the safety of other riders around me. Normally, I get right behind somebody and I just kind of match their speed. And then if I go to pass them, I'm not like blowing them out of the water. I'm kind of like they slow down, I pass them, and then you find that they just keep in pace with you. So it is what it is. You try to do the best you can, but these are the definitions that they've made here. Now, the bike can't have a wattage over 1,000. So basically 1,000 equivalent. When I bought my bike originally, my Smart Travel bike, that was the definition on the page a year ago. This was 1,000 watt equivalent bike. top speed 34 miles an hour. And again, that top speed is really with you pedaling it on a straightaway. If you open the throttle up on that thing and you've got any weight or any wind behind you, you're not getting past 28. So it kind of, like I said, right now I'm kind of thinking that it kind of is in a gray spot there. But again, I guess I won't be riding it anyway. And that's why I'm here today, is to purchase a new bike off Amazon. And I wanted to make sure that I was within the requirements, what is required of you to meet. So it says here, person under 16 years of age may not operate a Class 3 electric bike, but they may ride as a passenger. Okay. What are the laws around helmets? Helmets are required for bike riders under 16 years old. Now, I will grant something about Vermont is it's really lax when it comes to things here. They get really picky on some things, but it's something like this. This should not have an age on it. This should be helmets are required. That's it. That's where it should stop. I mean, anything that goes over 15 miles an hour, in my opinion, you need a helmet. You really do. So that's just my thoughts on it. I think Vermont should change it, but that's that. Electric bikes are regulated like bicycles. So you got to understand that when you ride in Vermont, you got to abide by the laws. And those are the same laws as the cars. You might think that's stupid, but it's not. That in Vermont, if you come up to a stop sign, you must stop. If you come up to a stoplight, you must stop. That is the reality of it. I see people just drive through intersections, or they take a right turn without even stopping. They go right from the bike lane into the next bike lane. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to follow the laws of the road. I guess that's what I wanted to say. Follow the laws of the road. And that means you're supposed to be stopping. You're supposed to use your directionals if you have them on your bike, or hand signals as you're moving through traffic. Vermont is very generous with, allowing these kinds of things on the road without any registration or insurance. And I would suggest anyone who rides one of these things, maybe to get a rider program on your insurance, either your homeowner's or renter's insurance, or just call your insurance company and say, look, I don't know if this is feasible, but I ride an electric bike. Is there a liability rider that I can use? Because you can really hurt somebody with one of these things if you're not paying attention and you're not doing it safe, right? Well, that's it, folks. Wanted to do a quick video on the Vermont bike laws. Now, again, a year ago, the definitions were not this tight. I looked on multiple sites, and it was like, yeah, Class 3 e-bike, 1,000 equivalent. Go ahead, have a good time. We don't want to stifle the electric bikes. I mean, my understanding was when the governor passed, or somebody passed, this regulation, the acceptance of the e-bikes, that I was told at the time that Vermont had the most laxed, easy going e-bike laws in the state, in the United States, only because they wanted to promote e-bikes. That they, in the Green Mountain State, they wanted to make sure people had the alternative to get an electric bike. And I mean, in a lot of countries, that's all you really see. Less and less cars, more and more bikes. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. And this has been the Tarkus Zone.